All right, Bengals and the Niners in San Francisco. Like, the big injury thing here is Brock Purdy. Like, is he going to play in the game? It feels like he's going to. Kyle Shanahan addressing the media like an hour ago in the Bay Area, like 6:50 p.m. Eastern time, 3:50 Pacific time right now, saying that Purdy has one more hurdle to clear concussion protocol. And the way that Matt Barrows of The Athletic basically wrote, like, we think he's going to play. And Barrows didn't say he's definitely playing, just like it feels like that's where we're trending. So we'll find out on Saturday for sure, whether it's Purdy or Sam Darnold. Bengals obviously coming off the bye. Deebo Samuel out for San Francisco. Trent Williams, it feels like probably on the wrong side of questionable, but he may return, Ken, for the Niners on Sunday.
I did like San Francisco as the start of the week, and I talked about it. I feel like you're getting a lower number than usual on a team like this. I don't like giving strong opinions when, like, I'm really not, like, okay, maybe Purdy plays, just like it's Friday. I don't want to give a strong opinion on this game. I kind of like San Francisco, but, like, I actually want to wait. And, like, cool, maybe it goes back up and I don't bet the game. This is very confusing, and I don't want to say anything with a lot of confidence because I'm not very confident. It's like kind of 4.5, 5 in a couple places right now as well. We'll talk Sunday about the game. I would never bet Cincinnati at these numbers. I can say that confidently.
Yeah, like, why don't like, let's have a conversation on Sunday when, like, we know who's playing quarterback for San Francisco. So we'll talk more about this game coming up on Sunday. No bets for me right now.
What is this? Is this like what? Yeah, just like, what is this going to be? Like, we're going to rush him back from a concussion? Like, and I want to lay it? Like, I don't even know if I want to do that.
Also, like, is the league going to step in and, like, not let him?
I know. It's just very weird. It's just all very weird. Yeah.
Because, like, I'll tell you what, like, that's one of the league's worst nightmares is Purdy gets concussed and he's laying there like Tua was. I'm not making light of what happened last year. Just that, like, that happens again and it's like a firestorm of the century. Prop bets for Week 8 in the National Football League with our friend, our stadium teammate, Brad Evans on Twitter at Noisy Huevos. Brad, one of the hosts of Live on the Line, sports betting television show that you can watch here on Stadium at noon Eastern time on weekdays. Brad, this past Monday night, I don't know if it was like the coming out party for Jordan Addison because he's had a couple good games, scored a couple touchdowns earlier in the year, but certainly like the rookie out of USC's best game of his rookie season. Do you think Addison has a repeat performance coming up on Sunday in Lambeau Field against the Packers?
It may not be a complete replication of what he accomplished under the prime time lights, but I think the receiving yards line is too low. I grabbed it when it opened at 58.5. I'd play that sucker up to like 69.5 against Green Bay. Again, his projected assignment is rather appeasing on paper, and that is Jair Alexander. You might say, well, Jair Alexander, he's a respected cornerback in the National Football League. Was a respected cornerback in that National Football League because he has been horrendous, to say the least, in coverage this season, allowing a 77.8 catch percentage, 155.8, near perfect passer rating on the year, and 17 flat yards per catch. I know Green Bay has allowed the 4th fewest wide receiver yards on the year, but Addison has really built up a nice and budding chemistry with Kirk Cousins, a guy that's way up there in total air yards. He's got 9 deep ball targets in total on the season. He's hit the over on the 58.5 of what I grabbed it at in receiving yards in 4 of his last 7. He's got 24 targets combined over the last 3 games. So I think he's going to have at least 60 yards and a possible touchdown this one. And a little bonus time. Guys, I like a whole lot of Cam Akers as well, not in rush yards, but receiving yards. Could be a single play payday. The number at 7.5 on receiving yards. That is it. I love the over on this at BetMGM. Green Bay's allowed 6.5 receptions per game, 42.8 receiving yards per game just to the running back position. 11 dudes have gone for at least 8 receiving yards, and Akers is starting to eat into the timeshare opportunities, seizing some touches away from Alexander Madison, evidence by his Minnesota high 44.8% snap rate played in the last matchup.
There isn't like a marquee game this week on where it's like, well, we have to start with LSU Alabama, which we'll obviously start with going forward next week. But why don't we do the Heisman first? Just because we usually do this kind of to close. It feels so open right now. And we talked about this last week. You said, hey, like one game, this thing could get crazy. Penix plays bad. Now we're in crazy town. Like that's really where we are right now. Like JJ McCarthy has become the favorite. Also, his team cheats. So that could be problematic. Michael Penix is the second choice. he was really bad last week, but like still has been very good this year. Jaden Daniels from LSU's in there. Travis is in there. Dylan Gabriel's in there. Bo Nix is in there. Marvin Harrison Jr. is still kind of a long shot, but had a big game and gained some traction. How are you betting this thing right now? What do you make of this? Feels like the craziest week of the year to talk about this award.
For the record, I'm not betting this because I'm not allowed to bet it, but I am allowed to vote.
Fair enough.
But I would happily give gambling advice for those that want to bet in this market. Listen, the bet you need to make this week is Bo Nix at 20-1 on the Heisman, because if you look, I did a piece at Action Network this week, came out on Tuesday, about who has the easiest path to sweep the remaining schedule. And, teams fell 73%. I think Florida State was like 89%. Yeah, I mean, I'm including the conference championship games. Well, Oregon was up there like around 80%. And if you look at their schedule for the rest of the year, if they get through this Utah game, they're hosting USC at home, not really worried about it. They're hosting Oregon State at home, not really worried about it. I mean, they have the easiest schedule of everybody in the Pac-12 that's remaining when everybody's got to collide and go up against each other. And Bo Nix is just a different animal at home. He is way more productive at home than he is on the road. So if he can pull it off and get this win here at Utah, that 20-1 is going to have monster value. He's got a 19-1 TD to INT ratio, and he's only 400 passing yards short of Michael Penix. So in my opinion, yeah, I know what the numbers are for McCarthy and Penix, but if you're looking for value on the board, by far it's Bo Nix, who just needs to win this game, defend home, and he's probably in the college football playoff.
Collin, could be a big game, could be a small game. What's your favorite bet coming up this weekend in college football?
I think Georgia-Florida is going over the total. It took some steam down below 48. 48 is very key. We're above that at 49. 49 is pretty key. The next one you got to look for is 55. But when people heard about the Brock Bowers injury, they immediately thought that this would hurt the Georgia offense. Well, I just don't think you're paying attention to what these guys have with Ra Thomas out on the outside. They have so many explosive players to go to for Carson Beck. Lad McConkey is healthy now. But when really this comes down to Dominic Lovett, he's in the slot. He's going to take all of those passing routes that Brock Bowers had. And you look at Dominic Lovett this year, he's got like 30 catches, only 1 TD, kind of buried in the depth chart of places for Carson Beck to throw. But last year he had 2.9 yards per route run at Missouri's offense. Like, he was one of the best wide receivers in Missouri's offense. Now he gets a chance to shine. And when you look at Mike Bobo and the history that he has at Georgia, being the offensive coordinator and calling plays, whether it's at Georgia or it's at Colorado State, it's play action pass and it's 4 verticals downfield. This Georgia offense is about to be more explosive. I'm not going to say it's going to be more successful. I don't think anybody can move the chains better than Brock Bowers. But when you're looking at explosive plays, that's what's about to happen with Georgia down the field. And if you look at Florida's secondary, I think they're 111th in defending explosive pass. Give me the over in this game in the world's largest cocktail.
Anthony, it's time once again for Where in the World is Anthony Dabbundo, which we already kind of
Don't
did
tell
me.
me.
Spain. But because you did Spain already, but we'll go somewhere else. You can go back. You can actually go back to Spain if you want, as long as the bet is really good. So where are we going? You got about a minute.
Let's go to Naples.
Short flight.
Napoli against Milan this weekend. Really interesting matchup. The market says these two teams are about even. I don't agree with that. I think Napoli is a little better, but I like the under more than I like Napoli. 2.5 under. Victor Osimhen is not going to play for Napoli, and he is so valuable and so important. The best player in Serie A on a game-to-game basis in terms of value to their team and importance metrics. So he is extremely critical, and you saw they missed him this week against Berlin in the Champions League as well. And Milan, Christian Pulisic has 4 goals. He's taken 13 shots in 11 games. That's really, really bad. Olivier Giroud is tailing off. He's getting older too. His numbers have really fallen off this year. There's just not much attack I like in either game here. Milan, very boring possession team, under 2.5, minus 110.
Say this about Olivier Giroud. Very handsome. And I was just in Naples this summer for my honeymoon, and it is, however crazy you think they are there for Napoli, they're crazier for Napoli than anyone thinks that they are. It was a sight to behold. I've kind of adopted Napoli as my favorite Italian team after that. The first game on the board at BetMGM for tomorrow, our Flyers against the Ducks.
Yeah. Would it surprise you to learn I've already bet the opener? Would that surprise you?
The Flyers are -1. I think the market's in on the Flyers now, right? Or is I don't know if this is just anti-Ducks.
Well, but what were the Bruins yesterday against the Ducks? 300, 320? I mean, a huge number. Yeah, I mean, yes, you'll see prices that start to favor the Flyers more. They were 130-1 to win their division, even after last night's game. The Metro, it's like probably the Rangers are probably, I think, the most likely team to win right now. Carolina's priced like it. They suck. Now they're like 60. So like, I don't think everyone's really, their updated point total, the Flyers, is 80.5, which puts them
That's
like
still
12th
really
out of
low.
16 teams. Yeah, it's like 12th or 13th out of 16 teams in the conference. So yeah, so like, you're right. Also, like, I think there's a lot more room to go here. Like, and people be like, well, how good do you think the team is? I don't think they're going to win the division, but like, one of the last few playoff spots, if they get that, Tortorella wins the Adams for sure. Like, playoffs right now, there's a couple places that still have 9-1 for them to just make the playoffs this year. Like, they're like good. When I say good, I don't mean they're like as good as like Boston or Toronto or these teams at the top. Like, that they could be in the next tier. Like, they really could be like the 5th or 6th seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs this year after that kind of like big group of 4.
Also, like, Rangers just slammed Edmonton. Edmonton's got
They're
a fire
very
coach,
good.
and the Rangers look awesome. The Rangers look awesome. Okay.